Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Zombies Love Bacon podcast. It is episode 9. I'm convinced we can do everything and never get cancelled. Don't attempt it, though. I've joined today with a few returning guests, starting with Shelby.
Hello, it's me. I'm back, your moral compass.
Apparently the moral compass of the group. We also have Prats.
Hello.
He's a little bit more around since he got banned from Ark. And then also joining us, the amphibian Frog.
Hello.
Recently found out his favourite food is cinnamon.
Yep. Cinnamon topped apple strudel this goes really well. Not
a shot glass of cinnamon?
Nah, wouldn't eat that.
I heard it's better with your shoe.
Did you understand why the cinnamon challenge is such a bad idea?
Okay. So my friend, so I didn't realize why the cinnamon challenge
you didn't
was
know.
so bad.
Okay.
I had no idea going into that. And
all right, stop. Just pause. Pause for a second.
Yep.
Shelby, did you know?
Yes, 100%.
And you did it, and you deliberately put him through that.
I thought he would have known and would have been like, haha, nah, do pick something else.
All right.
But he was all for it. I was like, he's strangely confident.
Because he doesn't know.
Yeah.
idea. I missed that train when it first appeared.
Okay, continue, Frog. I just wanted to make sure that you knew how much pain Shelby was inflicting.
I have a question. Where were you in the early 2010s when it was a trend on YouTube because everyone was doing cinnamon challenges? Were you living under a rock?
I think at that time I was locked in a room with my mates, huddled around a computer making music. So I didn't really pay attention to a lot of YouTube and stuff. So I was just sitting there making music the whole time.
That is an acceptable answer.
Yeah. So all through high school, I didn't really go on YouTube really until probably about year 12, and after school really. It just became something I watched on the train on the way to uni. That was it.
I remember when YouTube started. Anyway, continue.
You're that old.
Do you remember when the internet was created as well, Lardy? It's
low key, yes, but that's not the point.
Good old dial-up.
I remember when Windows 95 came out and we had to go buy a mouse, but let's not. We already did the Boomers podcast last week. Let's not go. Anyway, cinnamon challenge. All right.
So yeah, I had no knowledge of the dangers of that, and was only explained after having done it and having spent 5 minutes off camera on stream throwing up in a bathroom. So
now
remember, I'm the moral compass of the group.
You just slowly tried to kill us all.
So how was it? It was great. It was good.
Okay, so for anyone that hasn't done it, I don't recommend it. It dries your mouth. It's so hard to explain because normally your mouth is just, even when it's dry, it's still got it still feels like it's got some moisture in your mouth.
Yeah, it takes no moisture.
There was nothing in my mouth.
Nothing at all.
And I kept inhaling, and it was going down my throat. And so it was going down my stomach, down towards my stomach, but it was drying all down that whole thing. So all down my throat, I couldn't even open my mouth or breathe pretty much because of the fact that I was trying to pour beer down my throat at the same time to try to wet my mouth, but at the same time I couldn't open my mouth because my mouth was sealed shut because it was that dry, and it wouldn't. My body's natural reaction was to keep my mouth shut to try to produce some sort of moisture in my mouth, and it was just not a good time. And then came the gag reflexes because it started doing that same effect down towards my stomach, down through my throat and stuff, and then it was just gag reflexes. Up came into the toilet, the apple strudel that I'd been eating previously, as well as probably my 4 beers previous. Yeah, it was not good.
What made it better was going into it, you were so confident. You're like, oh yeah, I'll just fill a shot glass with it and I'll chase it with some beer. This is going to be easy.
That's
the
why
next 10 minutes, he's gone.
On that note too, I seem to remember pouring in a decent amount, probably just under a quarter. And then going, is this enough, chat? Am I going to die from this? Is this enough? And Shelby's sitting there going, nah, put some more in. Put some more in. Put some more in.
All
And
the
I'm just
cinnamon
fair.
challenges I've seen have had a lot more than that. You did.
Yeah, that's why they had to put a health warning out, because people were like, teaspoon, watch me shove this fucking 2-liter bottle of cinnamon down my throat. People are like, you're gonna die. Stop
I
it.
remember there's this iconic clip of this YouTuber called Glozell, and I think she did it with like a soup ladle,
Yeah,
and
Oh, God.
it really fucked her up.
it does.
Ooh.
It's not good for you. It's not a
All
thing.
the
Oh.
challenges that have come out have never been good. Just look at the Tide Pod one, for example.
That's not a challenge.
Or
That's
the,
a don't
or
do
the
it.
planking one.
Okay, so for
Like where people
$20
are
towards
just plank on
charity,
anything. Oh
so for
my
$20
god.
towards charity, I'll go eat a Tide Pod.
It was okay. It was for charity, and I thought he would have known.
This
Yeah,
is Frog we're
it's-
talking about.
And he's like a nerd who's looked at the internet for a lot of
it's
time.
it's a dumb challenge. It's not a Tide Pod thing. It's still, Tide Pod's like the extreme of how can you be so stupid?
You
Where
have Oreos.
Next
I
time you
think-
could just do the nutmeg challenge because nutmeg gets you high.
what I mean,
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, I felt still with the cinnamon though. After doing it, I felt 3 times more drunk than I did after
fucks up
having
your
my
senses.
beer. Like I was like, whoa! I felt
You
like
lost-
I was high, drunk, and just
You also
everything.
lost all
else.
the food out of your stomach, so it makes sense.
True.
it just
That-
fucks you up. That's in
It's
the
just-
nutshell. That's the
The,
scientific term.
the best one to do if you are to do something like that is just do Oreos or marshmallows. Like, at least then you won't have a chance of dying.
Just drink a cup of sriracha. It's great.
I'm down for that.
I'm
That's
not.
Speaking from experience.
That's a moment of fame for 3 days of
All right,
pain.
well, this kind of leads on to a topic. This leads on to topic. What's the dumbest or worst thing you've done for money?
Drank a cup of sriracha. For a Starlight Foundation a long time ago. I don't know. I've done lots of dumb shit for money though.
I've done. Oh, I'm trying to think. I've done a lot of dumb shit, not necessarily always for money.
For free.
A lot of the times it's been free. It's just like,
You're just like, what? I could have been getting paid for this? What?
It's interesting when you say like that, because then the first thing when I go, hey guys, let's raise money for charity, everyone thinks, what's the dumb shit I can do for money? And then you're like, there's so much shit I do for free though. Well, how do I convince them to pay me for this now?
yeah, like, okay, well, technically it's not free. It was it was a couple of my uni mates who were at a pub, and this is out Ballarat way, and we're sitting there. So it's Country Town pub. And we decided to set up a little game. It was a challenge. Apparently, my mates used to do it all the time. But it was putting out. So to set the scene, the reward was a jug of beer, and that was it. So there was a reward for this.
Yeah.
And so it was me versus my other mate. And so we partnered up with another guy who was lighting, smoking, and then it was those two. The two partners were competing, and we were competing, right? So the two partners were competing for like a pint, whereas we're competing for a whole jug because we've got the more, how do you say, dangerous part of this challenge.
Right.
So they were trying to see who could smoke cigarettes the quickest, and then they were handing like the butts to us, and we were just like, so it was like a race to finish the pack, and we had to then. We weren't allowed to like put it out just by like dash it. We had to put it out somewhere on our body. So we're like they're smoking, they're fucking huffing down these cigarettes, and then they were passing them over to us, and we were like I've got burn marks on my arms. I've got like a really prominent one. It's like a dot on my left hand, and then and like we were putting them out on our tongues. Like it was a fucking insane. We were very drunk at this point, and we were just going back and forth, and so they were competing for their who could smoke. And I think it was also like another pack of cigarettes was thrown in as well because like they're fucking expensive. And so yeah, I don't smoke, so that's why I volunteered to be like the guy who was going to win the jug. So it was good fun.
So let me just get this right. The challenge was the chain smoke as fast as you can.
Yes, and then us, we were partnered up, and we had to try to like if we could put all the cigarettes out like in time with the speed and like keep up with the guy who's chain smoking while only being able to put them out on our body, we got a jug.
What the fuck?
That's some weird shit.
Are you okay? Like,
Yeah, I mean, you said stupid
Actually-
shit. That's like one of multiple like stupid situations.
Stupid situations. I don't know. I'd say, like, I remember the first time that I did raising money for Starlight Foundation. I was like, I am going to raise money And I am going to whore myself out as much as possible to get that fucking money, because why would anyone ever donate otherwise?
Basically what I'm doing right now, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, basically. But, okay, so take everything you've done that's stupid so far for raising money, plus all the stuff you plan to do that's stupid, right? And then do it all in 4 hours. Like, all of it. That's what I did, right? And it's like, I shaved my head, I was eating ice cream covered in sriracha, covered in lemon juice, covered in fucking whatever. I was painting. I was like drawing. So I dressed up as Bob Ross, and the whole thing was to a painting stream. And then it's like, if you donate, you can get these weird things like have been Bing Boozled. Had like these mystery liquids where like basically like lemon juice, vinegar, and stuff like that. And then I think it was McDora was just like, do a sriracha, and I'll give you $50 or something. I'm like, all right, $50 is $50, and then everyone jumped on that. And next thing you know, it was like half a bottle of sriracha down, and I could feel the world melting around me, and it was bad. It was really bad, but over $1,000 in 4 hours was pretty impressive. So, and it just it was fine. I don't think I ever recovered, to be honest. I had lovely, beautiful hair back then, and then I shaved it off, and it hasn't come back.
I do want to say, like, you did that one, and then the following year, obviously, we did the Starlight Foundation one for your channel, where we were on the GTARP server, but weren't we getting drunk?
No,
that was a different time. Okay,
that was us testing the stuff.
Yeah,
we were getting drunk, writing the ideas, and then we're like, we'll just go on the server and test some of these things, and we just started playing Grand Theft Auto RP, and we're monkeys robbing stores at random.
I never recovered from that. I think that was
and then when we did the actual day, we got so many donations and stuff, it was just constant. And like, imagine like, because most people that either watch RP or do RP, it's you jump on, it's chill for an hour, you do something stupid, you deal with ramifications, and then you chill for the rest of the night, right? Mm-hmm. Imagine being in a situation and then looking over and going, we've got 8 more situations queued up. We need to hurry up and fucking do this.
People paying to have like their specific plan put into action.
Yeah, they're like, hey, can you fly in with a helicopter and rob this place as a monkey and get in a limousine? I'm like, fuck, all right, yeah, no worries. BRB.
Yeah, we can pull that off. We're really good at heisting.
I mean, to their credit, I mean, obviously, like we planned a fair bit of it, but it got to the point where there's so much going on, and I know that like Dunny put his hand up to come give us a chop out and give us a bit of a hand as like a third wheel, but even then, it was fucking chaos. And I was
so much happened that night.
So cooked at the end of that stream. Like I felt like I'd streamed for 48 hours straight.
I was exhausted as well, and it
So
wasn't even
cooked.
my stream. Like I didn't have to be on camera or anything, but putting things into motion and like setting it all up because doing this.
I remember the last thing we did was we stole something. We put the boat on a
the pirate ship.
We put the pirate ship on the back of the tow truck, and we were doing that, and we're getting chased by cops and whatever. And I dumped it in the Mirror Park Lake, and everything went to chaos. And then there was like people with freaking machine guns and bullets flying everywhere. So I just switched on God mode and like laid out a couple of cops real quick just to make myself feel better because I was getting sick of getting lit up all the time. Like just rolling around in God mode, couldn't get hurt. And then I think I landed in a tree or something. And then my planet needed me and disappeared.
Like being someone who was just standard RPing on that night, me,
fucking
Jelly, and I think it was Frog. We were rolling up to Mirror Park. And Johnson. We're rolling up to Mirror Park. There's cougars running around like crazy. Cops with like class 3s out, and we're just trying to get into our garage.
Well, the best part was we were just sitting there, right? I think we'd gone and we'd sold drugs or something that night. And we were just standing around chatting, and then you guys peered in the fucking mountains and just came in between our garages and just like walked up to us.
We quite literally,
purpose,
we open up the map and you have a look where people are. And you go, oh, well, this is so and so. This is what they'll be doing because you know by that point, right? Like, oh, they're all just chilling at Mirror Park. Let's go fuck with them. And off we go.
Yeah,
you don't want to drop into someone like having a serious moment and be like, hey, look, I'm a chicken.
Yeah, as the admin, we pulled up the settings where we could see everyone on the map at the time. So we were definitely concentrating on chaos there, but also I was spectating you from your own perspective to see what was happening before we went in. Make sure we did it right.
That night was
I think
was a success because I feel like a lot of people, particularly people that like play on servers and stuff like that, when they have something out of the norm happening, or they can get a peek behind the curtains and like, oh, I've always wondered what would happen if this happened, and we're like, well, let's make it happen, see what happens. Money goes to charity. No one can complain about charity, can they? So then that's why it went so well, because we basically get a hall pass for the night to do fuck around.
We did warn everyone. I think a week in advance I put in the announcement, by the way, on this specific night, there's going to be a lot of fuckery. So.
I think it was inspired. We were sitting in a staff meeting once, and I think No Pixel had their dev team were robbing the jewelry store as cats, and it's I was just watching it, and they knew everyone knew what was going on, so they threw the full force of the cops at them, but they had like cougars on the roof with snipers and shit like that. And I'm just like, this is so good. It'd be so good to do this. And then, we tested a few things. But it's not hard for us to write a custom script robberies and stuff like that anymore. And that's why we had all these random vehicles, and we're robbing the pineapple field, being the pineapple bandits for a while.
I think from that night on was the launch of chickens with rocket launchers just appearing around the city at random nights.
And then fucking salty. Batman fucking interrupting our fucking heist on the...
Hang on, let's go back a step. Batman's a fucking great idea, and I've been pitching it for years.
The Batman is good.
I'm like, imagine if I could be Batman. I just fucking walk around the streets and fight crime as a vigilante. But I remember when Salty did that, I'm like, this is gonna be so much fun. We're gonna go rob the bank. We're gonna rob everything. We're gonna fight Batman. And then no one was having a bar of it. Everyone was all like fucking sulky Sally that night, and just were like, nah.
Everyone wanted him out of it. It's
I'm like,
man, he became a third party. He was like another criminal.
I love that shit. As much as like RPs, whatever it is, you create a platform, people create their own RP. Like having that almost like event thing sort of happen where you go, oh shit, Batman's in town. I mean, that's cool. It makes you want to get on the server and play and do stuff, like revitalize the stuff.
Yeah.
Best one with Batman was taking him hostage and robbing the yacht, having him down on his knees, and then having one of the police officers, I think it was Abigail, come up onto the boat to like verify the hostage. Batman then breaking cuffs and running up to the fucking roof, getting in a helicopter and flying off. Then we were just like,
Batcopter.
I guess we're gonna take Abigail hostage.
You know what was terrifying for me? Because at that time I was robbing the yacht. Like I was in there. I have no clue what's going on out the front. I hear Batman saying, "I'm coming for you," running up the boat. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Aren't you like supposed to be at the ground?
It's like
we've talked about this before. How going into RP, you shouldn't be too serious and shouldn't be serious 100% of the time if you want to have a good time.
Hell yeah.
Because there are a lot of people who take it very seriously. But I think, it just goes to show as well, like, the extent that us as a group have really gone in general to push for charity stuff. So, yeah.
Oh, for sure. And
at the moment, I think a lot of people really got into the donate $20 on my stream and I'll find the closest person and murder them in Minecraft.
I thought you were going to say in real life. I was going to be very concerned. $20 is very low ball for that sort of thing.
Do it for 10 now.
$10, I'll do it.
Only 10? God.
I honestly didn't expect many people to pay for it because, like, you have the different tiers, and you have the $10 tier enters you into a competition to win a virtual streamer avatar, and the $20 tier is to murder people. And people were opting for the murder people. I was like, all right, then.
I mean,
I got so unlucky with that.
A lot of people will want to give you money and support what you're doing, and for charity, But if you give them something back, they're going to do it. And if it's a little bit of chaos they want to see, and people love chaos.
Even earlier today, we got a donation to do it, and we have unlocked the power of flight in the modded Minecraft world that we're in. And Shaughnessy just starts running away and then just launches into the sky. And I launch into the sky following, and we're having like a sky battle trying to hit each other. It was pretty good. But yeah, I was just surprised by the reception. I think it's really, really good as well. So yeah, everyone donate to Starlight Foundation.
Starlight Foundation.
That's why I love is like in RP scenarios, for instance, like I love like causing like I at the start when I've played with you guys for the first time, I wasn't like really into it because I was new, right? And I didn't really want to like step on people's toes. I wanted to like, just RP seriously. But then I realized it's more fun, correct English, more fun to go around and like just cause chaos. And like when I've played on other servers and I've been with people that I like playing with Danny and stuff, right? Again, as I've played with him, I've like people have been talking shit, right? Like for instance, they're just like standing there. It's one of those classic. Everyone just wants to sit in a circle and talk, right?
Yep.
And I'm just sitting there, and they're talking, they're chatting, they're laughing away, and then like they start making fun of the character that is Danny, right? To my face, and I'm supposed to be like, you know, one of his like right hand mans at that point, and I'm just like texted him. I was like, I'm gonna fucking stab this guy, and then I get back, no, don't do that. We're gonna do all this. We're gonna lose connections with this, that. Fuck. I would just want to stab him to see where it goes. Like, there's like 8 people standing around. If they're fucking breaks into an all-out brawl, fuck yeah, that's sick. Like, I don't give a shit if we're the only 2 people here on our side, and the rest of them are like those guys. I'm stabbing the guy. Like, it's
more
like
the thing that people fall into is they're like, oh, you know, I'm gonna stab someone. I'm a hard ass. You know, I take no shit. Blah blah blah. And they stand around in a circle for the entire time. And then something happens to a distant relative, and they're like, that's it. Get the boys together. We're hunting them down. And then they'll hunt them down for 3 months. It's like, mate, it's got nothing to do with you to begin with. All right. You chose to stand in the circle and not fucking do anything. Don't act like a hero now. You're not a hero. Fuck off. It's like the whole thing where the new guys came to town and they picked a fight with the regular guys, and they're like, fuck yeah, we'll blow them up. We're like, hey, do you need some C4? We got some. Do you need it? We'll give it to you.
Going into season 4 back on LP, like around this time last year, I had no real plans for Roman. I said, fuck it, I'm going to go down to Mosley's because I know what a lot is like. Like, I know how he RPs. I enjoyed that. And considering S3, he kind of moved away when I got in. I want to see where it goes. And it was just chaos, but it was great fun.
That's why whenever Hazzy would call me and be like, let's do a robbery, bro. I'm like, yeah, man, let's do it. It's like, it could be the dumbest idea in the planet. But fuck me, is that just non-stop content? Like, I'll never forget the whole, we talked about it for a week of like robbing a store in a golf cart dressed up as golfers. After he got sent to jail dressed as a golfer, and he's like, "Oh man, it'd be funny to do that again." And I'm like, "Mate, you just come out of jail. What are you doing?" And then we did all these dry runs. He's like, "Yeah, we're gonna go through this gap, and cops can't fit." Blah blah blah. So then we rob the store, get in the golf buggy, go through the gap. Cop comes straight through after us. Like, can't fit, can they? Can't fit.
Yeah, sorry about that one. That was my bad. My reconnaissance went bad.
That whole thing was a fucking nightmare, but it was so funny. And
like the helicopter on the roof, it was such a grand getaway for such a shitty heist.
I was playing Willow, but for those who are uninformed, she's a journalist, and that meant my entire time in that season was spent pretty much chasing everybody around to get the news. And I was pursuing this golf cart, and you guys at one point you jumped off, I think the building and over my head and almost wiped me out. You start going up the building, and my character's getting mad because she's like, "Oh, they almost killed me," and she's like helping the cops like direct the cops up there. And the cops started to try and drive up there, and definitely got stuck, and then tried running up after you. It was absolutely beautiful chaos. And like I was on the roof getting yelled at by the police when I saw the helicopter get away.
We definitely had a talent of taking over the whole city for the smallest crime.
Yeah.
Yep. That was the best part.
It's just no matter what, and it gets frustrating sometimes because they're like, "Oh, we're just playing this, blah blah blah," and then out comes helicopters and the MC hunting us down. It's like, dude, we just tried to rob the corner store. You know, it's not a big deal. We don't need the fucking whole city to come after us. But at the same time, it'd just be fucking hilarious. So whatever. But I always remember, and this is Hazzy to a T, right? Hazzy goes to prison for, I think it was drugs or whatever. This is all in the game, obviously, not actually in prison. And then he's like on Twitter, like, "Can someone give me a lift from prison? Blah blah blah. I need to go from prison. Da da da." And then he rocks up at Mosley's, the car dealership, and he's like, "Oh, I need a job, man." I'm like, "I'm here for my interview." I'm like, "Okay, cool. Have you been to prison anytime recently?" He goes, "Nah, man." I'm like, "You sure?" He's like, "Yep, never. I'm clean." I'm like, "Are you 100% sure?" He's like, yeah, man, I'm clean. I'm like, "Okay, cool. Well, all right, I'll sign you up." And then he gets a phone call, and he's like, "Yeah, man, can you give me?" He's on the phone. He's like, "Can you give me a lift to the prison? I need to get my stuff back from the cop shop." And I'm like, I can hear him. And I'm like, "Are you sure about that, buddy?" He's like, "Yeah, man, I'm sure." I'm like, what am I meant to do at this point? I just have to fucking go. And so I pulled him up on it like a week later, but I was not gonna, like, if the man's got the balls to pull that shit, I mean, it's great. And just that chaos was just so beautiful the entire time, and I think like we got used to it because we just every day was chaos. But
yeah,
I think for some people that it's quite they get a bit of anxiety to go, I'm gonna go do this crazy thing that might fuck my character out completely.
Yeah.
After spending God knows how many hours grinding, money and assets.
I think I went into the 9s like multiple times throughout that season. And I'd go again, like the C4 idea, how we went to blow up the cops during the chase from the Pack Standard Bank. How it went just so terribly wrong. But that was probably the funnest, bank I ever had.
Frog, you joined season 4, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you didn't meet the Bahamas crew and that nonsense.
No, and I wish I had have. I wish I had gotten into RP when it was really good. Because
I know, like Shelby could show you some pictures. Like we used to have a rule, we stand in a circle. There is no true leader. Blah blah blah. And it was have these full on meetings and stuff. And we're always planning big things, and everything was always chaos.
Yeah, whoever was talking would stand in the middle. Everyone is like,
look, it's no hot tub, all right. That's not a reference to the hot tub streams. I remember. Okay, short sidetrack. All right, the hot tub is a reference to once we're on the server, it was dead quiet. Like there's fucking nothing happening. Everyone's just standing around going, is anything going to happen? And I go around and see what everyone's doing with my admin powers. And there was just a heap of people sitting in a hot tub. I'm like, oh, okay.
Like 4 hours.
Yeah, and then like 4 hours later, I'm like, fuck, nothing's still happening. I checked. They're still in the hot tub. They haven't left for 4 hours.
What the fuck?
I'm just like, wow, that's got to be the best conversation that's going on there. So I always joke that like if nothing's happening, like someone's in a hot tub somewhere. But
to be fair, the penthouse did have a hot tub in it.
It did. But what I wanted to talk about was the Brit of Brilliance. Lebo guy who's been on the podcast as Moe's character, and he sourced presents is what we called them, right? Which was C4. Which you purchased them in a pack of 25. So we had 25 presents, which he managed to stretch out for almost the entire season through a number of things. Anyway, we hated this cop, and he's like, I'm going to go blow up the police station. And we're like, fucking do it, because we want to see this. And we came up with this whole plan of like getting a fuel tanker, slapping on C4, running it into the police station and blowing it up. Because we had something similar to happen to us with some other guys that had a disagreement with us at our nightclub. So we're like, that's a cool idea. These guys are assholes, but that's a good idea. We're going to steal that. Anyway, park that to one side. Separate thing. The undercover doc is getting there, is being found out, and like the cops are on a trail and everything else. And in the process of us planning one thing, we find out that they're raiding her undercover doc's house, right? So they've like set up roadblocks. They've got all these cars and shit there. They're trying to, they've blocked the whole road off, everything else. Within 1 minute, we switched the blow up the cop shop plan to blow up the doctor's place full of cops, and did it. Got a fucking fuel tanker, rammed it straight into this mob of cops, covered it in C4, blew them all.
It was
a minute.
The quickest execution of a plan I had ever heard. They were ready. Then we just give them this sudden change. They're on the ball. They do it. We witnessed it. We drove there. We witnessed it.
We were hiding behind the fence, and then it went in, and we're like, did it go off? Did it go? Did you see this almighty bang? We're like, we need to get out of here.
It was flawless. It was absolutely beautiful.
Absolute chaos.
The thing when we were on Bliss, when we had Hazy as the Taxico legendary Taxico kidnap hostage taker. His efficiency. You're talking about efficiency with that plan, but his efficiency when it came to that shit was like fucking insane. Like, if somehow, like, I used to drive around for ages with Johnson trying to find someone to fucking take, because everyone would be in a circle, no one would want to fucking do anything, and like everyone, you couldn't find someone by their own. But Hazzy, not for him, he would just fucking take people off the side of the street. And like, so I remember we had a disagreement. I can't remember, like, I think it was Mark's character. We had a disagreement, me and Johnson, because there's something. I think it was the two rival businesses. I think we had beaten up one of his employees that day, and he was shitty with us, right? Like, we had literally executed one of his employees.
Just
right?
normal RP things.
Yeah, and so then Mark was driving around trying to tail us for ages after the tsunami, and was like trying to find out what we're doing. So we like pulled him over and like held guns to him, and he tried to like drive off. So he was shitty with us. So we knew it was him. He didn't have a mask or anything, so he drove off. So we're sitting there just like, all right, that's a thing. Because we're at the same time we were also trying to find someone to take hostage. So we're seeing who was around town. And so then I get a call, and so we get dressed up. I give Hazzy's character a call, and I'm just like, yo, any chance? This is like 2 minutes between when we just literally ran Mark's character off the road, shot at him, and then he drove off. We're now dressed up. We're at the fucking Digi Den, ready to do the robbery. We give Hazzy a call. It's like, do you mind grabbing us a hostage? I'll transfer you $5,000 because we didn't want the money. We just wanted the fucking
rob the place. Yeah.
We just wanted to rob the place for the fucking chase, right? So get us a hostage. We'll give you $5,000. And he's like, sweet, I'm on it. Hangs up. A minute and a half because I had started playing a song on Spotify. And it was only halfway through the song when he calls back. So roughly about a minute and a half, he calls me back. He's like, I'll be there in 2 seconds. With Mark's character, who we had just tried to run up the road.
That's so good.
I was just like, I think something went wrong with that. Like the DigiDen wasn't working or something. But it was just like the efficiency of how long it took him from like the transfer of the $5,000 to he's straight at your doorstep with a fucking hostage. Like he literally rocked up in the fucking taxi. Like he'd gone to pick him up in a taxi.
Yeah.
No mask, nothing.
I know roughly how he does it, but I don't know how he does it. He must be just the luckiest man alive because he just does that.
Yeah.
Because he was doing that shit in season 4 with over 100,000 in fines.
I just remember the call over the radio. I can't find anyone. Abigail's by the fucking police station by herself. I think she's off duty. Runs into the cop. It's like, but I have to run into the cop shop. Yep. Runs into the cop shop. We have Abigail hostage.
How though? He's got the biggest balls. I don't know. It's like
that's what we call in the siege business testicular fortitude.
Yeah, right.
In season 4, we done so much wild stuff. There was the whole importer chick, like Shelby's character, who wanted cop cars that one night. So we set out for like 3 straight hours, murdering everyone, just trying to find one cop car.
For those who wanted a bit more context, I had a character who was a temporary character in the server. She'd come in every so often to help people get cars. Pretty much, after I would do all my car selling for the day, I'd set up and basically run like a Fast and the Furious style car.
That was gone in 60 seconds.
Yeah, that's the word. Sorry,
yeah.
Gone in 60 seconds. And I would ask for specific cars. People would go get them, try to drive them to me so I could give them payments for them. And it'd be a bit of a race because it'd be a quota to fill. One night I asked for a police car, any police car, didn't matter. And people were attacking the police, tracking them down, fighting them everywhere. The police were getting terrified. It was so good. It was the best night. It was.
We had a really
quickest way to find out how annoyed the cops. Like the cops were like, if you said steal a cop car, you'd think the cops would be like, oh, we'll get ready for this. We're gonna arrest all these idiots. Nope, it was more like run for your lives. The people are coming.
So that was me, Frog, and Jelly. We were chasing Madam's cop because he just got on duty, and we know the cops were going up north. So we followed him. He gets wiped out by one of his, I think it was the state trooper, Raya's character, or someone like that. We mow him down with a class 3, take him to Grandpa's. There's been a standoff at Grandpa's with me and Frog against the whole cop force. Frog DC's at the time, so it's me against the cop force. I take down one cop, but get knocked down. They leave me there. Frog reconnects, picks me up, we dip out the back, and then we just got 60k.
Well, literally, it was just. I just remember because it was right in front of the police station. We just like pull up. We're in like full military gear. There's like 3 of us. We start gunning class 3 shotguns, pistols, and I think like an Uzi or something. We just like get out of the car, just fucking start mowing into the cops. All for like I think it was like 50k or something. It wasn't even like much. But it was like, we get out of the car, it's like a full military operation just to kill one cop, grab his car, and then take it to fucking wherever Shelby's character was. It's fucking nuts.
It's fucking wild.
Meanwhile, sticking to the 4-man rule, which was so difficult to do because we had random people on the radio we didn't even know. We just knew that there was people there.
So I think there was also a race that had happened earlier that night as well. So that's why we were all on the radio still, or something. Because like there was people that weren't in our crew.
You're probably boosting cars earlier.
Yeah, there wasn't people that were in our crew that were on the radio. There was like characters like
we knew them, but we didn't like.
I remember
watching. Group.
I think I remember watching it all unfold from just watching, because when shit like that goes down, you sort of go, someone's going to get upset. We're going to get a ticket about this, so we might as well just see what happens here, so we know what's going to happen. So we're watching, and everything was above board. It was just fucking utter chaos. So it's great. But like that. My whole point to all of this is it's beats sitting in a hot tub for 4 hours.
Be the chaos you want to see in the world.
You're on the server to have fun, and if you're a streamer, you want to make fucking content because it's a popular category. People have made careers out of just playing GTARP. Last thing you want to do is stream sitting in a hot tub for 4 hours. Although that is the streaming meta now, might have changed, but then definitely not.
Probably one of my favorite getaway moments from the police in RP would be season 4 after I stabbed one of the cops who at the time was having a thing with Roman's sister, Letty. And then we're up at Mirror Park, we're all just chilling, chatting. We have the whole police force roll in while we're having casual chat. Cops just trying to tase everyone, but I think their main target's me. I somehow sneak past 2 cops into my car. And for the next 4 or so hours, I'm flying around the whole map, trying to get away from cops.
The best part of that was we're standing out in the street, and I think it was me who made the comment. It was like, shouldn't you be hiding or something? And you're like, what are they going to do? Roll up in Mirror Park? And then 5 minutes later, they roll up into Mirror Park. It's like, fucking hell.
Oh, God.
Oh, it was a great time just getting into so much chaos.
So much chaos, and it's like season 4 was good, season 3 was crazy, and then 1 and 2 seasons was when we were still figuring out how to run a server. So it was a lot of stuff we're trying to figure out. A lot of people hold on to the nostalgia because a lot of people started in those sort of seasons, but
yeah.
3 was when we peaked at the right balance of cops being around and crime happening.
I think I joined in around mid to early S3. And the first person I met was D. I buy a car off Bobby. Then I drive up the street, run into Bobby with the car I just brought off in. And then from then on, I slowly become a member of the Bahamas crew.
I was mid to late season 1 and came in as my seemingly innocent character, then quickly became a terrible biker who people still talked about seasons later, that she was just kind of terrifying, which I think was great.
Great for the ego.
Yeah, season 2 was just gonna pass over that. Season 2 was good. I have a lot of fondness for season 2. I played the most nice normal character that season that I could, which was something else. Then season 3 I went balls deep into crime, which was great. So yeah, I think season 2, season 3 were my favorites.
The only thing I know about Dahlia in season 3 is she's crazy, she has a sniper, and she's a doctor. Yeah. Stay on her good side or you'll get hit.
For season 3, we did the big crime. We did the huge drug bust thing, which shouldn't have worked, but somehow worked, and will never ever work ever again because it was a complete fluke that everything paid out. But it's great for content. But then the whole thing was we should have been caught. Now we have to play this long game because we planned for everything except for getting away scot-free, which we got away scot-free. So we're like, what do we do now? We just made $600,000 in 40 minutes. What are we meant to do with all this? And we played it out and it was great. And the whole thing, we did a day where we're just going to keep going and escalating until we go to jail. And that was the day. And I remember, and I know we've been talking about RP for a lot, but I remember this was my pinnacle of fucking chaos was that we had been killing cops. So then the cops were getting pissed off and therefore they were getting more aggro. And then I took someone to go to the fucking liquor store up north. I was robbing it. We're going to try and snipe all the cops before they even got to the shop. Shelby gets sniped before it even really takes off. All the cops come in there. I've taken a cop hostage at this point. They don't even give a shit anymore. They're we'll kill you and the cop. We're done. And I'm like, all right, you do it then. And I just walked out. I had my gun to his head, we had the take hostage thing. So I was literally walking the cop with the gun to his head down the street, and there was a circle of cops around me, and they just ended up just tasing me into to buggery, and it was over. But it was bruh, I'm like, how hard is it? I was daring them to just shoot me.
Just take the shot.
Just take the shot, and we done 5 robberies that night. And then and it just got to the point where it was just chaos. Again, absolutely a strange ability to take over an entire server of people for 1 or 2 crimes. But it was fun. It was good. And like you look at like RP sort of dipped off a bit, but then No Pixel's taken off again, which is the big server that everyone knows.
They're No Pixel Renaissance at the moment.
Yeah, and it's to the point where there's a lot of people that want to get involved in GTARP, a lot of people watching GTARP, a lot of people getting involved with smaller servers, a lot of medium servers that are popping off that need to keep up with that, I guess, that standard, which is kind of, I suppose, where the difference becomes that the No Pixel standard, particularly for developing and like creating a server, like people are looking for a No Pixel alternative, and there's a lot of big servers out there that can't quite keep up to that standard because it is a high maintenance sort of thing, and we know this all very well because
we're developers.
Yeah, well, me and Shelby have done many developing, and we're in the process of developing a new server. And honestly, there's no like, if you go out to make a game and you're like, hey, I'm going to build a game in, let's say we're using like Frostbite, for example. It's, you know, it's a known game engine and stuff like that. You go to school, you can go to school and learn about Frostbite. There's courses and everything else. We're literally taking a game that is built by Rockstar, and then we're dismantling the assets, putting it into another program called 5M, and then we're modding the shit out of it so that we can put people in from all over the world to go in there and pretend to be someone else.
Yep.
There's no course for that.
Definitely, and there's also not enough tutorials out there or anything
there's
like
like
that.
fuck all for YouTube and stuff as well. It's a lot of it is
a lot of people in the community in 5M as developers have this weird perspective of like, I don't want to teach anybody the thing that I know how to do because it makes me and my server special. So, you know, and I know this as well because I still get DMs on the daily of how do I do this? How do I do that? And it's, you know, I do want to share that knowledge and make like a tutorial or something like that, but it's also like a time thing.
But it's also a moving target. Like they because it's not our assets, it's Rockstar. Rockstar rolls out an update. 5M have got to roll out an update. Then we've got to roll out an update. It's a constant. So if you could finish a tutorial, edit it, upload it, and it's no longer relevant. Very
quickly, 100%. But yeah, it's just, so there's not a lot of shared knowledge out there about how to do things in certain ways. A lot of people will create their servers with what we call drag and drop, which is they'll download a script without editing it. They'll put it on the server, which causes issues. So getting everything to work in sync with your own scripts and scripts that you've put together and scripts that you've downloaded is a whole nother can of worms. It's a very different ecosystem than standard game development. Not that I'm saying that we're like real developers, but
it's guerrilla
developing. Intense, different process.
Yeah.
And that's probably why I've got so much burnout right now.
Yeah, and to my point, it's self-taught as well. Like, you can someone can teach you and show you the ropes and everything else, but at the end of the day, you're going to be looking at a wall of text at 2 a.m. in the morning going, why doesn't this fucking work? And then when you give it to someone the next day, they're going to go, there's a comma missing.
And you thought it was some sort of big issue with like...
And you've gone, well, I've pulled down 30 other scripts and adjusted them to work with this one, and you're telling me it was never their problem, it was this one that's missing one fucking keystroke?
Yeah.
Bruh. And that's developing in a nutshell. But and then you think about, okay, so that's you think about that. Then you think about developing on a server that literally has hundreds, if not millions, of people watching on a daily basis, and then you forget to put the comma there, and you ruin their content. There's no pressure, you know. It's so yeah, it's a wild west, and like as much as shit happened to a lot of the servers and places that we used to play. We were lucky to have what we had when we had it. That's pretty much how it sort of worked out.
We were not relegated to public servers with screaming 13-year-olds, thank God.
Yeah, and like I said, we are working on stuff, but it's harder. The world's changed, and even the way that we dev has changed completely. And people that are deving the old way, they're in for a shock because
it doesn't work anymore.
It doesn't really work.
No.
So fun, but I mean, I only ever got into GTARP from I watched streamers play it and went, "Oh, this is cool. I like this."
I'm not sure what really made me step into GTARP. I think I just like saw it one day. I was like, "Hey, this looks interesting. Let's give it a shot." 3,000 plus hours later,
and I thought it was stupid. And then I watched Hyper do it, and Hyper's like, "Shelby, go get GTA. You'd like to do this." And I did. I listened to him. I went onto the server. I got harassed within my first 2 days. Thought about quitting. Stuck with it, and then here we go. And you know, the benefits were definitely outweighing the negatives, and I had a good time. But I didn't actually watch any No Pixel beforehand. I didn't play any GTA 5 beforehand. My first experience in GTA 5 was on an RP server with no knowledge of what RP was like.
I had no idea how to get into it, and I asked my stream team, which was headed up by Hyper, to look into it because I knew there was a few other RPs that were on the stream team. And then 2 weeks later, he's like, "We're gonna do it. I'm gonna fucking make a server," and that was the Team OCE RP server. And I remember watching. And hopefully Hyper never listens to this because he probably hates the fact that people bring it up all the time. I was watching Hyper deving for it, and he wipes the live server instead of the dev server.
The gas leak, as we call it.
And then everyone had to roll back the 2 weeks that had already been played out because the gas leak.
Oh, no.
It was
no.
It was the fairy godmother came in and said, "Hello, there was a gas leak. Here's $2,000 or something. Have a nice day," and then flew away again. And then everyone just picked up where they left off, basically.
And I use that as an example of why you should always take your backups and back up your backups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely, we've never been coding something and accidentally updated it on live,
I definitely haven't broken the server. I definitely haven't accidentally deleted people's individual characters, panicked and uploaded a version of them where they're not at the same location they were when they logged off.
Is that why we get a ticket and they're like, "I woke up here and I don't remember logging off"?
That's different. But
Are you sure? You sure
I was in the database and I was fixing somebody's money or something like that from a ticket. And I think I accidentally had somebody highlighted and managed to somehow delete them. It was Luna's side character.
Okay.
Well, not even her side character. It was her season 3 main character, but at that point she'd switched over to a new one.
Yeah.
So I don't think she ever noticed. But I full on deleted her, had to panic and had to restore her from a backup of an SQL file that was sitting in my downloads folder from 2 weeks ago, dug that out, restored it to its original condition, pulled out the one line that had her character in it, and inserted it back into the SQL. I was like, I hope no one fucking notices.
That's the deving in a nutshell. It's fucking hectic.
I was young, okay? I was little.
It's fine.
Baby dev.
Baby dev. Yeah.
I was a baby dev at some point.
Yeah, basically. I mean, I still feel like a baby dev. I just punch things until they work. Basically, just keep chucking code in there until it works. And every now and then you hit a gold mine. You go, so that's how you do it. But most of the time it's, "Why won't you work, you stupid comma?" It's amazing how much the commas fuck everything constantly. Pretty much every time that would load up the city from after a reset, it's like, "Garages are broken." It's like, "Oh, all right, comma's missing. Where is it?" And go find it. Yeah.
Definitely some strange things happen.
Yeah. I'm not in any hurry to get back into RP. As much as I miss having that platform, I watch other people play on a lot of other platforms, and unless they've got that sort of community to support them, it's quite hard for a small team to go into a new server or established server and be like, "Hi, I'm relevant." And they go, "No, you're not." So, okay. It's all right. I'll go do delivery driving or something, But anyway, it is what it is. It's like I said, it's been good, and we were very grateful at the peak of that to raise a lot of money for charities. Sort of where we got into this whole conversation as well.
Yeah.
But it's good. And I know this year they were sort of like, well, fuck, we're not really in a position to do the same thing, so that's why I convinced a heap of idiots to come and stream and raise money with me. So
and do shot glasses full of cinnamon.
And a shoey out of the dirtiest boots I've ever seen.
You know why that's dirty? It's because there's no physical way to avoid getting yourself covered in paint when you're spray painting shit.
But the outside of the shoe is one thing, the inside of the shoe looked disgusting.
Why are you
also
painting
a hole in it, and also your foot sweat was in there.
Yeah.
You did a shoey of your foot sweat. Your work boots are the most disgusting thing.
I was going to do a shoey in just a normal shoe, and then I think it was Mark came in and donated an extra $20. Shout out to Mark too, by the way. He's a legend.
He's been going around to all of our streams donating so much.
Yeah, he's a fucking legend. But yeah, $20 extra. Do it in your work boot. All right, fuck it up
for the kids. Practically the amount of fungus between your toes that would have been down there. You basically did a mushroom shoey, Yeah, that's right.
I mean, I think I probably could have got myself a lot higher as a result, like the alcohol wasn't the thing that got me drunk. It was like the amount of paint thinners that came with the fucking the paint and the shoe. Yeah,
I think we should have put a warning before this conversation. If you're eating or anything, we're sorry, and you should probably stop for the next 5 to 10 minutes.
If you're eating out of your shoe, you already know what's going on.
I made this joke last night to Prats, and I think Nor was in the channel as well. And I was basically saying how like, it's not serious, and I do not recommend this at all to anybody to do. Right?
Don't do this at home, kids.
No one do this at home. But I made a joke about. So say for instance, when I'm painting without a respirator and like you get that heavy, because you get a heavy, I painted 3 panels at the end of the day without a mask because I couldn't be fucked putting it on. And that whole drive home, all I could feel was like paint swirling around in my lungs. Like it was 3 tiny panels and it was like, I wear a mask every other time, but then I was like, fuck it, I can't be bothered. It's like a 5-minute job. Spray paint. And then I just go about my day. But anyway, you can feel it, right? You can feel paint, liquid paint in your stomach, like in your lungs, sorry. And it's a disgusting feeling. So I made the joke. That's why I douse my arm in, I dunk my arm in a vat of paint thinners so that my entire car.
You made this joke to me.
It's just full of paint. Yeah, wasn't you? It's just full of paint thinners, and it like goes down into your lungs and it thins out the paint.
Yeah, remember, and then I said, "Oh, if by that logic, you should drink paint stripper," and then you're like, "Whoa." Yeah. So, wear a fucking mask, you idiot.
Moral of the story, don't listen to Frog if he tells you to do something.
You remind me of the memes of when like COVID began, and people like not wearing a mask, painting something, then they walk outside to put a mask on for COVID.
Wow.
Well,
what? You're not wearing a mask. Put the mask on. Imagine.
I have worn a mask for 4 weeks since we first spoke about my new job on the pod. Yeah. I have worn a mask every second of the day,
and I was undone it instantly in a moment of laziness.
In 2 moments, there's been 2 moments since I did it where I've been lazy and I couldn't be fucked. One was on Friday, and then one was a couple of weeks ago, where it was a similar situation where I'm doing small little sample panels that basically mean fuck all. So I'm just quickly trying to paint it so I can get the fuck out of there, and I just could be fucked putting a mask on. Like, cause you gotta like fucking makes your neck ache. You gotta like strap it around. You gotta pull it up, and then you hard to breathe.
I always remember. I always think about, because I grew up in the country with a bunch of idiots, basically, right? The amount of times I'd see people that do the welding where they don't wear a mask and they like just turn their head away when they weld, so they just weld while they're not looking, and then stop welding and look back. And I just think, why? And I'd be like, it's fine, don't worry about it. That's that was the attitude they had.
Anytime I've done soldering, I've soldered without a respirator in my office, inhaling lead fumes.
So I grew up like that, right? I've just got told it's not worth worrying about. You're going to die anyway. And then when I went to work, and I work in a place that sells personal protection equipment, and they asked me to go angle grinder up a heap of fucking old shelves and stuff out the back so they'd fit in this bin or whatever. I don't know. And I went and got a full fucking face mask. And I'm like, I'm wearing this bad boy. And like, you don't need that. Just get some goggles out of the fucking drawer. I'm like, nah, I'm writing off a face mask. I'm going to wear this, because the goggles, they stick to your face. I don't like them. I'm not comfortable, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, you shouldn't get a face mask. It's expensive. And it doesn't cover your face properly. And I'm like, yes, it does. It's a fucking full face mask. Anyway, soaring away with this angle grinder, the blade explodes, shatters off, and a part of the blade actually gets embedded in the mask. If I wasn't wearing it, would have went through my nose. So
yep,
I wear masks.
It was like at my work. When I first started there, they had me on this machine where it's basically it cuts out holes and stuff. It's called a Forvet. You cut out holes and stuff like for like power sockets and shit in glass.
Yeah,
and I was on the part where you like load it on. So when you load it on, you got to like check for certain things. So like you got to check the edges. You got to make sure that they're like the dimensions are right. That there's no like overcuts. So like sometimes when you break glass, there's like a little bit that'll like stick.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you've seen how glass gets broken, but you put it. You basically use a diamond spin wheel and score it, and then you snap it. It's fucking satisfying. It's like breaking a Kit Kat.
Yeah, because it always fucking breaks too. Cleaner than a Kit Kat.
Yeah, it's cleaner than a Kit Kat, like 100%. And so you do that, right? And then you you got to check for in case bits like like the overhang of the Kit Kat. Like you got to check if there's any overhang on the glass, right? And if there is, you got to use there's like a little belt sander that you got to like sand it back so it's like smooth. And I was just using that for 3-4 days, right? And no one told me this until the boss of the whole fucking company came in. It's like, you realize you should be like leaning away from that. That's basically like inhaling straight asbestos.
Oh.
I was like, what? The glass dust is basically asbestos.
Yeah,
it's going into my lungs. It's going into my lungs and shattering it. Like it's
staying there.
And they're not going anywhere. So it's just like, yep, cool, sick. Thanks for telling me that when I learned.
So what you're saying is you successfully painted the glass in your lungs.
Yep.
So what we're saying is we're all going to die early.
Yeah.
Fucking right.
Yeah.
Me from lead toxicity, Frog from his carbon fiber lungs.
Various different inhaled substances, i.e. paint thinner, cinnamon, and glass.
I don't want to go down the path of, hey, most gruesome things you've seen at work, but like fucking wear your gloves and your helmet and your goggles because, there's people I know who don't work anymore for reasons that could have been solved with simple things like gloves. And then there's, you know what? Here's a story, right? And I'm keeping in mind that we're running out of time. Right? What do you do? Right? Here, I'm going to throw this question to all of you. Right? Each of you answer this question. All. If you get a really bad splinter on your hand, so you've been handling some lumber, you get this big ass splinter goes into your hand, and it's in deep. Right? What do you do? How do you fix that problem? Let's go. Let's Frog. You go first.
Pull it out.
Pull it out. Okay, you can't get to it. It's in your hand.
Okay, so I go to the DGU machine, right, at my factory, and I turn the white silicon into black silicon. I grab a tweezer. I grab the tweezer. I grab a bottle of metho, right? I pull like I literally like if I can't just pull it out, I'll grab a razor blade and I'll cut around the splinter. I'll pull it out. Meanwhile, my hand will be most likely bleeding at this point because this is a very specific story because this is something that has actually happened.
Yeah, this too, but
possibly. Yeah, and then you pull the tweezer out, right? And then they pull the splinter out. Sorry, with the tweezers, and then you get the bottle of metho, get a rag, you drown your fucking finger in metho, wrap it in the rag, and then you take the rag off. Get some warm black silicon, dunk your finger in it, seals like a Band-Aid. No problem. Nothing's getting in that. That's infection free.
That's
that
pretty bad.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
So what you're saying is add at least 20 different chemicals to your cut.
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
So you can't feel the original cut.
They're cleansing chemicals. They're not like.
Can't feel the splinter if you're burning.
All right, Shelby, what's the answer? What's the actual answer?
I would soak it in Epsom salt and water to soften the skin and soften the splinter. And then I would take a glass jar with like a small rim, heat it up, usually with hot water, then stick it on my finger over the splinter so it sucks the splinter out with the change in pressure. If that doesn't work, I'm one of those terrible people who will pick at my skin until it bleeds. So I will just.
Oh my God, you're all horrible people.
So I will
sounds like some scientific Nancy Pantsy with pressure and different altered states. Just get a fucking razor blade and cut it out.
So, okay.
If all else fails, I'll cry and go to my mum and be like, "Can you?"
So my personal answer, right? And we'll get to this. Pratt said, "Dig it out."
Oh, okay.
Pull it out.
Yeah. So my personal answer is dig it out best you can. Otherwise, you can get a drawing agent from the pharmacy that will help it lift it to the skin, so you can get it out without digging your whole hand out. All right, that's my professional way of doing it. Now, this work cover claim comes because his answer is you coat it in Vegemite.
What?
You coat it in Vegemite.
Yeah, you want a hand sandwich?
The yeast draws out the splinter.
That's not how yeast works.
No, that gives you an infection.
Yeah.
And about 4 weeks off of work because you can't use your hand anymore.
So what you're saying is, if I want,
he got a splinter. He went home, coated his hand in Vegemite, wrapped it up, and went to bed. Woke up the next day. It was sore and green.
I have a really gross story. Can I?
This is all right. This is going to be last story. All right. So
okay. This is on par with the bat signal story. So I feel like this is becoming a trend whenever I'm in the pod to end on a really
on a cliffhanger and then never come back.
And then never come back. Okay, so I went through a period where, like, when I was doing all the music and stuff, where I was out at clubs from like Thursday through till Tuesday the next week, right? Like I would come home, I'd sleep, wake up, start drinking, go out, and because like my uni week usually fitted into that nice first couple of days of the week. So the rest of the week, I'd have like 1 or 2 classes I could go to, and then I'd just keep fucking going out and I'd DJ, I'd go to different clubs and all this shit. And so I heard a lot of fucked up stories, but one of the most fucked up stories that I heard was one of my mates telling me about his brother. Now, so his brother and his girlfriend, so they went down to they were alone. They were getting freaky, right? And these are your classic sort of like at clubs every single day. What I was like, right? But they're like they don't have. They're not there for the music. They're there for the drugs, the alcohol, and all that shit. They're not there. They're not there for like. I mean, I was there for the alcohol, but like at the same time, I think I was one of the more mature people there, despite everything I say on this pod. Just going to ignore that part. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. So what happened with this? So these guys are like typical club rats, right? They're she had gotten braces, right? They go back. They're a bit drunk. I think he'd been away for a week or something, and they end up going back. First time they'd like hung out since he'd been back, and drinks had happened. They were getting freaky back at his house, and she decides to fellatiate, having just gotten braces and not knowing how to do it whilst having braces.
No.
And the poor dude gets his dick shredded. Now, I'm talking like you get a cucumber, you get a.
All right, we get it.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Like the way that my mate described it was like it was fucked, right? Blood's pouring everywhere. They fix it up, right? Her solution, because she was really apologetic, and she was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I made you bleed and all this stuff. I'm so sorry.
Bit of
Her solution was it was a certain time of the month, and so she offers to let him do it in the butt. Right? So I told
Does this get worse or better? Does this get worse or better?
It gets so much worse. It gets so much worse.
Continue. I'm invested now.
She goes, "I'm so sorry I did this to your dick. Let me do it in. Let me like that. Let me give you anal. Like let's do anal, right?
Just get a grapefruit at this point."
Why do people act like anal is like the premium? Like oh, this is like the best I can.
Let's not get sidetracked on this one. All right,
yeah.
Please finish.
I'm
the
just
story.
wondering. Continue.
Yeah. We'll save this anal conversation for the next pod. Write it down in the topic discussions. We'll discuss anal next time. Anyway, so she then they start doing it, but I don't know. This is the mentality that I don't understand. He didn't use like his blood. There's blood pouring from like multiple cuts on his cock, and he didn't think shoving a bloody penis inside an asshole was a bad idea. So he goes, they do it. It's fine. It's all good. Then he gets so sick for 3 months after this, like to the point where he was in hospital in like a coma, like an induced coma, because he had like blood poisoning that was so bad.
What the actual fuck?
What the fuck?
All of this because of people just like all that could have. I know it still stood a chance of getting infected because a condom's not like 100% effective, but like at least putting a condom on would have stopped majority of things that majority of bacteria. Like it's putting an open wound into a bacteria.
Or the logical way to go about it, just don't do it.
Just don't do it.
Just don't do it. Just
If
if you see blood, you should stop.
All right.
I mean, you know what they say. Okay, you go on, and then I'll end the pod on a quote.
I don't want you to end of whatever your quote is, and I think it starts with any hole probably.
I got a quote.
Okay, all right. Let me just say this as a piece of advice to everyone and everything and every single situation that you've ever been in. If you think to yourself, maybe I shouldn't do this, maybe it's not worth it, maybe don't do it. And if you're still not sure, think about this. Would you be proud to talk about this on a podcast later on? Is this a proud defining moment that you discuss with your parents about how you used your bloody dick to do anal and get sick and put into a coma? Could you imagine the conversation that you would have had to have with your mum and go, hey, Ma, not really feeling too good. And then she goes, what happened, son? And then you say, well, she said, oh, you could have anal. And now this is where we are. Think about it.
If the dick's bleeding, don't do it.
It's actually there's a technical term in the industry that's called, I think it's called headlining, where you think about what you're about to do as a headline, and then you think whether or not you're proud or ashamed of it, and then you consider whether you're going to actually do it, because this all could have been avoided by just not doing it.
To be fair, it is quite the story for a podcast.
Yeah, but he's not here to tell us.
Yeah, he's not. If this happened to me, I wouldn't be telling this story. Now, tell me when you're ready to go into the outros, because
we're going to go to the outros. So
going on to the outros. Okay, so this man
was you all along.
No, it could be considered an idol because he lives by the philosophy of no pain, no gain. Now that's gonna leave that with you.
That was a terrible outro.
And that was the last time we'll ever have Frog on the podcast. If you ever wanted to know what bat signals are, Google it. It gets pretty close if you Google it hard enough.
I'd prefer bat signals over
whatever that was.
Heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't my finest. I'm sorry. I just thought I thought it was relevant, but then
How is that relevant in any
It's not relevant.
He had
about splinters.
I'm talking about
was
the
he that
anal.
small? Oh,
no pain.
And with that note, thank you for listening to this part.
Yeah, Shelby, you want to take us out?
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the Zombie Love Bacon podcast. Congratulations for surviving this long, unless you skip to the end just to hear Frog's terrible part. Because no doubt he will go around and tell people to listen to it. We can do some outros. Eladi, would you like to?
Yeah, you follow me everywhere on Zombies LV Bacon. If you can't find me there, I've been cancelled and it's been nice. Thank you.
Get cancelled. Pratt.
You can find me on twitch.tv/xprat and Twitter at xprats_.
Now, Frog, can you please tell everybody your username so everyone can know where to avoid you?
And your address.
Twitch at It's Frog with 2 underscores because I can't change it, and I'm a peg. And Frog_R6 on Twitch.
What?
Zombies, you want to do anal?
I mean, sure, why not?
Anyway, and I'm Shell Bunny. Shell Bunny _ on Twitter, Shell Bunny on Twitch, and I am a V streamer. I stream about every couple of days or so at the moment. We're all raising money for the Starlight Foundation. So if you want to get Frog to do anything for $10, he'll do it.
Anything.
If you have braces, it might do it cheaper.
Braces come premium, bro. What do you mean?
We made it 1 hour before we had to tick the adults only explicit. 1 hour, and then here we are. So yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll see.
Glad we're ending because it just sounded like Pratt's mum walked into his room or something. I heard a voice.
What do you want to keep recording?
This guy Frog, he is talking about anal on the podcast.
Shut up.
It's a penis that's bleeding. It's going into
Goodbye. End now. It's end. Pull the plug.